I can literally feel the shift that's happening right now. There is something in the air, something that's finally, after years, actual years, coming to light. Someone tried to break you. Someone sent something toward you that they thought would be the final nail, the thing that would snuff your light out for good. And they sat back, they literally just watched like it was entertainment, like they had front row seats to your destruction. But that's not what happened. That's not what happened at all. And here is what I'm sensing. And I need you to really feel into this because this goes deep. Whatever this person did to you in the past, it left actual scars, real lasting damage. And it took you so long, like so incredibly long, to put those pieces of yourself back together again. You had to rebuild from ash. You had to figure out who you were after someone tried to convince the entire world that you were the villain. But here is the thing that's wild, and this is what's making my heart hurt for you. You were not alone in being hurt. You were alone in being believed. The community, and I mean this specifically, they were not just sitting on the sidelines, staying neutral. They chose a side. They chose wrong. They made a choice to believe the narrative, to echo it, to amplify it. Maybe there were older women, maybe there were people you'd known forever, people you trusted. And they looked at you and decided you were not worth defending. Some of them didn't even know the full story. Others, they knew exactly what was happening, and they turned their heads anyway. And I'm going to tell you something. That silence was just as damaging as the actual abuse. It was just slower. It was just more insidious because it came wrapped in concerned conversations and sideways glances and whispered doubts about your stability, your credibility, your worth. But something's shifting now. And not because of some random thing that just happened last week. This has been building. The exposure has been happening gradually. Pieces coming together. People finally connecting dots that should have been obvious all along. And the community that fed you to the wolves, they are starting to feel something. They are starting to feel really uncomfortable, in their own skin. Let me paint you a picture because I think you need to see this play out. The person who tried to paint you as unstable, as crazy, as the problem, their mask is literally melting. It's not happening on their schedule. It's not something they can control anymore. People are looking back at the things they said about you, the accusations, the character attacks, the way they questioned your sanity instead of their own conscience. And they are realizing something. They are realizing that they got played. That they were so quick to judge without even asking for one piece of evidence. They didn't say, wait, let me understand what actually happened. They just said, okay, if you say so, that person's the villain. And they ran with it. What's really hitting me is the hypocrisy of it all. These were people, maybe they go to religious services, maybe they practice daily affirmations, maybe they talk constantly about being good people, about living by spiritual principles. And at the same time, they were actively working against you. They were spreading your name around like it was synonymous with shame. They were making sure you stayed small. They were blocking your opportunities, slandering your name, isolating you. And they did it all while feeling righteous about it. They told themselves a story where they protecting someone, where they were on the right side of the story. But here is where it gets really interesting. That story they told themselves, it's rotting from the inside out. And now the wider community, the people who were not part of that inner circle, who maybe got fed scraps of information and just believed it because it came from sources they trusted. They are waking up. They are actually paying attention now. They are looking at the evidence. They are reading between the lines. And they are having this moment where they realize, I've been lied to. I've been so carefully manipulated, and I didn't even realize it. This is the moment where everything changes. Because when the innocent majority realizes that the pillars of the community, the people who seemed so trustworthy, so morally upright, are actually motivated by money and status and control, it shakes everything. It rewrites the narrative. It makes people question every single thing they've been told, every single judgment they've made about you, every single time they hesitated to help you because they were not sure if you were the problem, if you were the problem. And you know what's happening to those people now? The ones who were loudest in condemning you, they are becoming very, very quiet. The ones who said it with such certainty are now experiencing this creeping dread, this anxiety that will not go away because they know what's coming. They know that people are going to see them clearly now. People are going to understand what they actually are beneath the mask of niceness. And that terrifies them. Because the thing about losing control of a narrative is that it happens fast. One person starts asking questions, then another person decides to actually look for answers. Someone finds proof, real, concrete evidence of what actually happened. And suddenly, it's not about he said, she said anymore. Suddenly, it's documented. Suddenly, it's undeniable. What I'm really picking up on is that there was someone, maybe someone close to one of these community members, maybe someone they were trying to protect for personal reasons, and that person did something to you that was really dark, something that caused real trauma. And when you try to speak about it, when you try to tell your truth, these protectors came out of nowhere and attacked you instead of holding holding the person accountable. They made it about defending someone they loved instead of defending what was right. You know that scene in A Few Good Men, when the truth finally comes out in the courtroom, where everyone realizes they've been protecting a lie. They've been defending the indefensible. They've been choosing loyalty to an institution or a person over actual justice and actual humanity. That's what's happening in your community right now. Except this isn't a movie courtroom. It's real life. And the exposure is happening in slow motion. People are having their own version of that moment where they realize they made the wrong choice. They stood on the wrong side. And now they have to live with that. The contrast is hitting me so hard right now. You went through something genuinely devastating. And instead of getting support, instead of having people believe you and stand with you, you got isolation. You got blamed. You got labeled as unstable, as angry, as vindictive, as someone making things up for attention. Meanwhile, the actual person who caused the damage, they were protected. They were defended. They were given the benefit of the doubt while you were stripped of yours. But now, and this is what I need you to really let sink in. Now people are paying attention. Now when you post about your new business, about the life you're building without them, about the space you've created that they can't even access, it hits them. Because you didn't get smaller. You didn't get bitter. You didn't let their narrative become your identity. You kept going, you kept building. You started radiating this energy or just unbothered. You're not looking for their approval anymore. You're not waiting for them to see you correctly. You are just living. And that's infinitely more powerful than anything they can do. And that's when the guilt really sets in. That's when some of them start feeling this pull toward you, not because they suddenly care about you, but because they are desperate to make sure you don't expose them further. Some of them are going to try to reach out. They are going to like your old photos on social media. They are going to send you messages about how they are sorry, they were not there for you. They are going to offer you things, try to do you favors, attempt to buy their way back into your good graces. And I want you to be really clear about something. They are not doing this because they are sorry. They are doing this because they are scared. They are scared of what's going to happen if you decide to make things official. And I'm not even talking about legal action specifically, though that's definitely something you should talk to an actual attorney about if you are considering it. I mean, the simple act of making something that was whispered and hidden and covered up out loud, making it a matter of record, making it so that the truth can be rewritten again. The idea of that terrifies them because they have spent so long controlling the story. You see, in their minds, they made choices based on incomplete information, or maybe they knew more than they let on. Maybe they saw red flags and just looked the other way because it was easier, because getting involved would have been complicated, because they didn't want to lose their standing in the community, because the person they were protecting was someone important to them, and it felt safer to sacrifice you than to hold that person accountable. So they made peace with that choice, or they tried to. But you can't actually make peace with something like that. You can't. You can only pretend. And eventually, when the truth comes out, when people finally understand what actually happened, that pretend peace shatters. And suddenly, they are faced with the reality of who they actually are. Not the story they told themselves, but the actual choices they made, the actual person they hurt, the actual wrong they participated in. The timing of this is so important too. This isn't a new development. This isn't something they just came out of nowhere. This has been building. Maybe someone finally felt brave enough to speak up. Maybe evidence surfaced that can't be denied. Maybe enough people started asking enough questions that the walls finally started cracking. But this moment you're in right now, this is the culmination of something that's been in motion for a long time. Think about a volcano for a second. Deep underground, pressure has been building for years. Nobody can see it happening. It's silent, it's hidden, it's invisible. But it's there. Everybody knows that. It's real. And then one day, the pressure becomes so intense, so overwhelming, that the volcano can't contain it anymore. And everything that was underground comes violently to the surface. All that pressure has gone somewhere. And when it does, the entire landscape changes forever. Forever. That's what's happening to the people who hurt you. They've been sitting on this lie, this narrative, this abuse for so long. They've been containing it, controlling it, managing it. But the pressure, the weight of the actual truth, it builds underneath everything. And when it finally erupts, everyone sees what was always there. Everyone understands the damage that happened beneath the surface. And there is nowhere to hide anymore. The volcano doesn't care about your reputation. It doesn't care about your image or your status or your place in the community. It just erupts. And that's exactly what the truth is doing right now. And the community is having a collective realization. The people who are genuinely good, who have genuine faith or genuine values or genuine principles, they are looking at what happened and they are ashamed. Not just ashamed that they didn't do any more, though that's part of it, but ashamed that they were part of a system that allowed this to happen. Ashamed that they let themselves be swayed by social pressure and group dynamics. Ashamed that they stayed quiet when they could have spoken up. Some of them are going to come toward you. They are going to want to make amends. And here is what I need you to know. You don't owe them forgiveness. You don't owe them access to your healing journey. You don't owe them a chance to feel bad about themselves. If they want to apologize, that's their work to do. If they want to make it right, that's their journey. Your job isn't to make them feel okay about what happened, what they did. Your job is to take care of yourself. Because here is the real transformation that's happening here. And I want you to see it clearly. You came through something that was designed to destroy you. You didn't just survive it. You actually built something better on the other side of it. You figured out who you are when you can't rely on anyone else's validation. You learned what your own voice sounds like when you're not performing for an audience. You became the version of yourself that never needs their approval because you already know your own worth. That's not a small thing. That's actually everything. The people who hurt you, who isolated you, who chose sides against you, they are stuck. They are still operating in that old system of control and performance and group dynamics and fear, of course, fear. And they are still trying to figure out how to manage their image and protect their reputation and maintain their peace, their place, in whatever social hierarchy they are obsessed with. But you are free. You are already moving forward. You are already building the next thing. You are already becoming the person you are meant to be. And that disparity is only going to grow. As more people understand what actually happened, as more people see clearly, as more truth comes out, they are going to feel smaller and smaller. They are going to watch you succeed, and it's going to feel like a failure on their part. They're going to see you thriving, and it's going to remind them of the choice they made, the side they picked, the harm they allowed to happen. And here is what matters right now. You know the truth. The people who matter are starting to understand the truth. The narrative that was built to destroy you is falling apart, not because you're fighting anymore, but because it was always fragile. Lies have a shelf life. They only work if everyone keeps agreeing to believe them. And once enough people start making questions or making choices, asking questions, once enough people start looking for actual evidence instead of just accepting what they were told, the whole thing collapses. Whole thing collapses. So right now, in this moment, you get to make a choice. You can engage with the people reaching out. You can decide who you want to allow back into your life and on what terms. You can choose whether to speak your truth publicly or keep it private. You can decide what justice looks like for you, whether that's legal, whether that's community accountability, whether that's just living well and moving forward. But here is what I know for certain. Whatever you decide, you are deciding from a place of clarity now. You are not making choices based on survival anymore. You are making choices based on what actually serves you. That's real power. That's actually what they feared all along. Not your pain, not your anger, not even your story. They feared your power. They feared what would happen if you ever fully believed in yourself. Because the moment you did, the moment you stopped needing them to validate you, the whole system fell apart. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Keep going. Keep building. Keep trusting what you know to be true about yourself. Because the community is watching and they are starting to finally understand. The story they told about you was always a lie. And the person who actually broke their hearts isn't you. It's the realization of what they actually did when they had the chance to do something right. And there they chose wrong instead. So keep being you.